Nothing beats the long-lasting freshness and quality taste of Clover fresh milk. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to our Afternoon Express Cook-Along. Yes, it is a Wednesday, but we're still whipping it up the best way we know how. And I have got my handy-dandy head chefs with me. I'm speaking about Heinz and Kim, all the way from Blackies. And what you guys specifically star in, essentially, is Korean-style street food. Now, if you want to get the full ingredients list and the recipe to what's on the menu today, please just head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. Now, Mr. H, what is the next step? I believe we're making some beautiful corn dogs.
That's correct. So we call them chicken dogs. So we start off with your, while I'm going to do this, Kim is going to start making the batter for us to do this together.
Okay, so I'm going to make the batter, which is essential for our Korean dogs. That's the main step in this process. I've got some cake flour, I've got some celery salt, some chilies, some thyme, some sugar, baking powder.
Nice.
Paprika, black pepper, 1 whole egg, and some milk. And we're just going to mix that all together.
So essentially here, after you have skewered in your chicken Vienna, you can use whether a skewer at home or if you've got some easy, handy-dandy chopsticks, just to continue with the Korean theme, you use those to pierce the Vienna, and then the Viennas head over to Kim. So then, as you guys are getting through with that, I do believe, as you keep saying, Heinz, that street food is all about what's easy on the eye.
That's correct.
And we've already got a beautiful finished product, and I'm trying to get our corn dogs on that level, or the chicken dogs on that level. So how then do I make sure that I have the colors, the ingredients, and that garnish correct?
So what we do is Kim is going to coat these. Kim, I'm just going to hand it over to you. Yeah. And then in that batter, you can also put, like we did before, colouring, so your beetroots and all of that. So what we're going to do now is, I'm just going to show you here with cucumber.
You can use
Can I use you? Okay, cool. So you cut your cucumber in half, and then again.
Into 4s.
That's it.
Now, you're very pedantic about the way you prepare your garnishes. I've never seen anyone pay such attention to detail when it comes to garnishing. So much so that Heinz decided to take over my chopping station. So don't do all of it. Let me see if I have nailed the way Heinz puts together his garnishing. So you just cut it into 4s. After cutting it one by one, cutting it into 4s. After cutting into 4s, you make sure that you take the pips all the way out. Right? So our viewers will now see that this is essentially what's left over, and then you can just
eat that, exactly.
Enjoy that as is, okay?
That's it.
So let me make sure I get that correct whilst you show us how to do the spring onion. Spring onion.
So once again with spring onion, typical Asian flavor. So instead of just cutting them lengthwise, cut them at an angle, because when you cut them at an angle, they get a beautiful shape. Looks a little bit less than spring onion.
Okay.
And
all right, I'll finish up the rest, don't worry.
Sure. And then you'll see now...
Heinz wants to finish all my jobs. He's giving me nothing to do, truly spoiling me in the kitchen. I'm asking for an example, and he's giving me a full masterclass. But that's what it's all about here in the kitchen. So once they look that good, essentially, in that diagonal shape, they're ready for the garnishing. So I'm going to continue with that.
Perfect.
Finish off what he's left for me to do. I'm just teasing. And you're also going to get started on the corn dogs there. I see Kim has already started with the batter, applying the batter onto the Viennas and onto the chopsticks.
Okay, so I've covered the Viennas in our batter. It needs to be quite thick, so it will stick to the Vienna. Once we've done that, and we've kind of made sure it's even all the way around, we've got some panko breadcrumbs, which we'll just put it in. Coat those, and then they are ready for their first fry.
Okay.
I'll take over from you, Kim. So I just like to squish them in nicely.
Make sure that all of that batter's in there.
Yes.
Okay.
When your kitchen is a little bit hot as well, you can put your batter in the fridge so that it's just not too runny. Then we pop them in. And basically, what you do is once the skewer comes up, you know your corn dog is ready.
Oh, wow. Oh, so it'll float to the top?
It floats up, yeah.
Nice, okay. And you also spoke about the importance of double frying.
Yes.
Are we doing that again?
We can do it with the chicken the chicken dogs as well. But in general, the best is to do it with the chicken pops, because the first fry, you just seal in all the flavors, and with the second fry, you then make it really, really crispy to enjoy.
Love that. When it comes to Korean food and Korean style cuisine, if our viewers want to adventure out from what we've already prepared, looking as good as that does look, what's the #1 rule to remember, or some tips and tricks when it comes to just the general, I suppose, Asian style of cooking?
Well, for the viewers who don't have a thermometer at home, the oil needs to be for proper cooking to make it good and crispy, and that once again, although it's deep fry, there's a misconception that if your oil is not hot enough, what happens is people think it's oily and it's bad for you. When your oil is about 180 degrees, what happens is it seals the outside and it steams the inside. So even if you do a double fry, it still does that. So it takes away all of that bad element that frying is.
That might be inside.
So if you don't have a thermometer at home to check that your oil is 180 degrees, you take a plain piece of bread, you break a piece off, you chuck it into the oil. The minute the bread comes to the top and it goes golden brown, keep the heat at that temperature, and then keep on frying.
Love that.
Yes.
Tips and tricks, but we have it all detailed for you on our website. I mean, Kim, on that side, how is it going with the batter and the dunking there?
This is the easiest kind of process. Once they've battered, you panko them and they go in. And it is as simple as that.
Simple, easy peasy. Now on social media, we have been connecting with our viewers from the top of the show, and I hope that you keep your questions, keep the conversation throughout the show, because we will definitely be attending to them. But what I love about this recipe, essentially, whether it's Korean, you can always put your own South African flair to it.
That's it. Of course you can.
Yeah.
There's no specific thing. And like you said earlier, it's a plain Vienna, but with the batter, with the beautiful flavors that you put in there, you make it your own. So you can experiment. The way I learned to cook was my mother. I could never understand how my mother could just stand in the kitchen and then just chuck things together.
Yeah.
And what I learned from her was you always start off with a recipe, you then taste it, and once you've tasted it, then you decide, what do I like about this? And I change that.
Oh, wow.
Now, Pelly, you have the Korean sauce there that we made earlier.
Yeah.
So now for the people who don't like it too spicy, you can do 1/3 of the Korean sauce and then 2/3 of the mayo. You can do 1/3 of the mayo. So you decide on how strong you want the sauce if you don't like that extra spiciness.
Oh, okay. And once this is all mixed up, depending on your flavor taste, you can just tube it or pipe it or put it in a bottle like we've done here.
That's correct.
So
yes.
I'm ready to garnish this and put this all together. We've now finished the entire process of putting together the corn dogs. If you can just pass me, Heinz, the corn dogs there that you've already got prepared. It's time to make these babies look pretty, don't you agree?
Okay, cool. Yes, let's make them pretty.
Okay, let's get going.
Cool.
So I've got some of that sauce there that you're going to add, and then all of the garnish here.
So once again, when you see the food, you want it to look good. You want to bite into them.
Yes. And
It's all
this
about
is
aesthetics.
aesthetic and making sure that they're Instagram worthy.
That's
and when it
exactly.
does come to your social media, can people find where to find you, your food truck, and how you get down on your platforms?
Yes.
Nice.
We are on Instagram and Facebook, and it's Plucky's Chick for Instagram, and on Facebook it's just Pluckies.
Lovely. And Kim, when it comes to just the feedback, what is your favorite part of people biting into your delicious chicken dogs or whatever, or your bao buns? What gives you that joy to say, yep, this is why I love preparing
Flavor. The thing that most people came back with is it's a flavor bomb. The flavors are incredible. There's sweet, there's salty, there's everything combined, and the flavors together just make it work.
Ah, the flavors pop. And not only do they pop with the first 3 things that we've created today, whether it was the chicken pops, the cauliflower pops, these bao buns, or the corn dogs, you still have something else. So what will we be preparing towards the end of the show?
So once again, what we love is we constantly bring in a little bit of a health element to it. So we're going to make today for you crispy apple donuts.
Okay, a crispy apple donut is what
Yes.
I'm all about. I know the traditional donuts, but let's take it up a notch and come along with me, South Africa. Please do head over to our website if you want to be making these with us coming up.